Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to UCLA LiveWell. My name is Dr. Wendy Slusser, and I'm the Associate Vice Provost for the Seminole Healthy Campus Initiative Center at UCLA and your host for this podcast. Today, I will be talking with the former NBA World Champion and one of the premier NBA defenders of his era, Metta SandifordArtest, previously known as Metta World Peace. Metta has been a leader in destigmatizing mental health in the world of professional sports and beyond by opening up and sharing his life story. Metta's openness to discuss mental health issues has helped to build a sense of community where people feel empowered to share their own struggles and successes around emotional well-being. We are also honored to have Metta as one of our esteemed panelists at our upcoming 2021 virtual celebration, Bruins Together, on May 26 from 5:30 to 6:30 Pacific Time. RSVP now at healthy.ucla.edu/2021 virtual celebration. And if you can't make it, you can tune in to our YouTube channel to watch it later. Keep listening for an engaging conversation with Metta about how we can create a culture that prioritizes taking care of your mental health and emotional well-being. Metta, thank you so much for coming. It's such a pleasure to have you. I mean, the last time I saw you was on campus at UCLA, and it feels like a lifetime ago. I've always been an admirer of your ability to advocate for mental health awareness. I mean, that was the first time I actually met you at UCLA. You were with a student group and you were presenting and discussing mental health and how crucial it is to destigmatize mental health, in particular in your world of professional sports and also beyond. And I'd love to hear from you. How did you start thinking about that as an important part of your dialogue?
Well, I think it's important to discuss mental health in just professional sports. And obviously people in different walks of life go through different things. But I just thought it was important because it's like professional sports. You often hear people say different terminologies such as hero, idol, and it puts a professional athlete on a pedestal, and it kind of dehumanizes the athlete a little bit, makes the athlete seem unreal, and sometimes the athlete tries to uphold that, and it's just not the case for everyone. And some athletes could withstand a lot of adversity, and some can't. And at the end of the day, the athletes that can't are human, so they go through different things. It's publicized, and it's a different world out there when you come from nothing and then you are on TV every day. Everyone knows you, you're famous, and you're trying to continue to build on that character, or you're trying to figure out how you're going to take care of lots of people, or it changes overnight, literally. 19 years of your life or 20 years, it's been different, right? So many different things can affect that when you're making professional sports, from relationships to how you have a relationship with your family, to your partner, how you think about yourself, who are you? Do you go back home? Do you keep the same friends, right? So there's so many different things.
Wow, you've covered so many pieces of this puzzle that I've always wondered about in terms of people who are, coming from more modest means and then suddenly being catapulted up, right, to being sort of in a position where people, really look up to you, but at the same time, you're also who you are and who you were raised as. So how do you feel talking about emotional well-being up front in a position as an athlete? How do you feel that makes it better for everyone?
Even when you look at Kevin Love and DeMarcus DeRozan, they came out recently saying they have experienced different things, with mental health. It's such a positive thing when you address it. And also not only for the athletes, but even for their fans, right? People that's watching, they might be going through things. You affect the happiness, essentially, of millions of people that are watching you. And out of the millions that's watching you, some people are going through different things and they can connect. It's just such a positive thing for people to support. Back in the days, they didn't really support anyone with mental health in sports, mental health issues in sports. Now, I wish we could. The terminology mental health gets such a bad rap, so I always pause in between that because it gets such a bad rap. Because mental health, that doesn't mean a negative thing, right? It's just mental health, right? You can be mentally healthy or mentally unhealthy. or having different issues. But, you know, with that being said, it wasn't as acceptable years ago. You come out as an athlete and you say, I'm having problems. They look at you as weak. But I see that as strong. I see that as you're actually strong because you have the courage to come out publicly and address your issues, and you have the courage to improve on yourself. Whereas before, I just didn't get it. People, when I came out and telling people I needed help, it was true, and I didn't see anything wrong with it. But it was amazing how many people would laugh at that or be surprised. Like, yeah, I want to think my psychiatrist. I actually see one. Yes. Well, psychologist, wasn't psychiatrist, psychologist, and I was dependent, and I still see some therapists to this day because we always going through a new challenge. It's always a new challenge.
Well, what you're really describing is to be truthful and straightforward about who you are, and it can give strength to yourself and others as well. My psychology colleagues always describe to me how our moods are a continuum, and many of us move from, feeling content and happy to being maybe a little bit sad or even a little bit depressed, but still functioning and doing okay. And so if you can address that in that stage, you might not ever ultimately become seriously depressed. So by talking about the need to talk about your feelings is a strong and powerful step to take. And especially for people like in your role where you are, like you said, many people look up to you, thousands and hundreds of thousands. And to have that strength, how do you feel about that role that you've taken on? Because you really have been a powerful voice in this movement of professional sports and emotional well-being, and not even people that aren't professional sports, but your fans or just the run-of-the-mill kind of person like me.
It wasn't a role I was expecting. It was just something I wanted to do and give back. I know so many people helped me over my career. So, and then I think when I did come out, it was a couple things that put me kind of in the front. It was probably my career, my fans, people that seen me play for a long time, pretty good player. Then two, the stage that I was on when I was at the biggest stage was like being the most vulnerable. And I feel like people needed to hear that. And that was at a time way before any social unrest, or it was 10 years ago. But it was just like, even 10 years ago, people were still going through things. It was different, but people were still essentially going through different things, collectively too. So I'm assuming people was like, wow, I need help, but probably not pursuing help. How many people are just not pursuing help? Because it's like, I can handle it myself. I'll get through it. But imagine, even if it's small depression or small anxiety, small doses of depression, just imagine going through a small dose of depression or anxiety for a year straight by yourself. That's really difficult. What's really interesting nowadays, we have so many resources. We essentially have it easier, because what did they do back in the cave days when they was depressed?
That's a good point. Well, speaking of the cave, a lot of people are likening the pandemic, as many of us have been in our cave, and some of us might have a hard time getting out of the cave as life goes back to what might be our new normal. During the pandemic, many people, I think, who might have been at this level, many people have dropped to another low, or a little bit lower than they were before the pandemic, suffering not just from emotional well-being issues, but substance abuse, even suicide. Some people have been, especially among the youth. And so I'm wondering, what would you tell these people at this time, the ones that are suffering right now? What would be your wisdoms that you'd like to share with them?
It's just time heals. I think Pau Gasol actually tweeted something or posted something one time that was talking about the past is the history. Past is in the past, or it's history. Now is the present, and then the future. You really can't control the future. And today and now is the present. It's actually a present because it's here and now. He referred to it as a present, as a gift. Now, some people are going through some tough times, but if you can master the present, I think that's amazing. And a lot of people have mastered being in the present moment. Even being in a tough situation in the past, Could have been yesterday, or it could be 10 years ago, or a year ago, or it can be for the last 10 years. But being in the moment, like, okay, I'm gonna just enjoy myself today. I'm gonna work hard and do what I have to do today. It should affect the outcome in the future. Whatever you can enjoy today, try to enjoy it, whether it's a meal with your significant other or your brother or sister, whether it's a book, or whether it's going outside. During the pandemic, a lot of people wasn't going outside. I would say enjoy the moment. Definitely enjoy the moment as much as you can.
It's really something that you can control and do for yourself and others. And being in the moment is something that you can control. You can't control the future or the past. That's really powerful. And what have you experienced or observed in that area of reflection and positive action? Sort of like what you were just saying with the being in the moment.
It's really difficult at times, but when I do stay in the moment, I have such a better day. Stress, and people don't realize that. Maybe some people do. I know doctors do because they do research on it, but stress causes all sorts of issues. Now, I'm not saying don't be stressed and if you're going through things, but it causes so many issues, and literally you can't really affect what happened yesterday. You just can't. There's nothing you can do to affect what happened yesterday. Somebody told me that a long time ago and I didn't get it. And I'm a big shoulda, woulda, coulda person. I'm a big person because it's things I worked so hard for as a child, being in the present moment, that helped me become the professional basketball player that I wanted to be. But then along that journey, there were certain things I wish I would have done differently. But as a child, I wasn't thinking about what I would have done differently at 6 years old, or when I was 12, what I would have done differently at 10. I'm like, no, I know where I want to go. And today I'm going to work so hard. I'm going to play basketball all day today I know what I want in the future, but I'm not worried about what's going to happen in the future. I got one goal, is to make it pro and have fun today. And we forget about that. It's really hard to master that and to get that back. And that's one of the reasons why I'm back in therapy also, because I wanted to, kind of recapture that moment, when I was a child and just moving forward and having a good time.
It's really powerful wisdoms that you just shared with us, to be so focused like you were as a child, and look where it got you.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's pretty something.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like really interesting. It's really
being in the moment and not regretting the past and not worried about the future, but really, knowing what you want and just focusing. It's really powerful.
You can't control it either.
That's right.
Yeah. You think you might control your future, but really you don't.
That's right. It's so true.
You can do something today that can affect the outcome, and you can really enjoy what you're doing today. And it's not easy, right? It's not easy. But today, like if you wanted to, you can make the best apple pie today if you wanted to. Or create the best poetry right now if you really wanted to. Today, take some time to yourself, right? Go to the beach. Call your parent today if you haven't, right? And these are things that I'm just speaking about because I'm still trying to get to a different level in my life, right? And it's things that I don't always do, but it's great thinking about the present.
You're working with your therapist in a way is showing how you continue to work in the present to meet your goals.
Absolutely.
And it shows, there's no question that we use this phrase, Eudaimonia, living a life of meaning and purpose. It's identifying your strengths and working hard at them, and then you will be content, whatever you choose to do. And it's the opposite of hedonia, which of course is where people are just trying to get immediate gratification, which is not what you're saying. You're saying you're working hard to get somewhere that will bring more meaning and purpose to your life.
At the point I'm at in my life now is more, I would say, I'm into like a lot of business, but as we know, so many people, as we get older, we get into business, but sometimes it becomes overwhelming. We get into so many projects and different things, and we forget to enjoy like yourself, like your soul, not even just your spirit, your emotions like that. How are you treating yourself? And my therapist actually told me this. UCLA therapist, actually.
Right on. We have the best.
Easy to use UCLA. I was actually struggling with, being a president and then giving yourself positive feedback. I was really interesting. I was sad because it's like, if I'm such a shoulda, woulda, coulda person, and that means I'm beating myself up all the time because even my awards, I have a NBA Defensive Player of the Year. I have a championship ring, all-star appearance, couple first-team all-defense NBAs. And I've been suspended. As people know, I've been suspended throughout my career. So a couple of those years, I missed out on awards that I was clearly going to receive. And then a year after I got in trouble, I left, and right in the middle of receiving more awards, I don't know what was going on in my head. I'm beat, and then at that time, that's a whole other issue. But with that being said, now my career is over. Now I don't have the total amount of awards that I wanted, which was supposed to be tons of them. And I beat myself up, so I gave away some of my awards. I couldn't look at these awards. My ring, championship ring, I raffled that one. A good cause, but it's not with me. Instead of enjoying it and cherishing it, like it's a great thing. You have a Defensive Player of the Year award. You have a all-star appearance, one, but you have one. Be grateful for that. Like sometimes pat yourself on the back without worrying about what you don't have or what someone else has. Like treat yourself nice. Treat yourself nice the way you want to treat others. Some people go out their way to treat others nice, and when they get home, they don't treat themselves nice. I was like, wow, that's so interesting. But now that's something, once again, that's a new challenge that I have that's not going to happen overnight. When I was first going down this path with anger management, that didn't happen overnight. It took a long time to really hone in on that. Parenting class, marriage counseling. If you don't go to marriage counseling today, it can be better tomorrow, right? But I'm really interested in this journey of just patting myself on the back without having a big ego about it. Just like more encouragement.
Well, what you're really focusing on, which is critical, is this whole sense of gratitude. And not only gratitude for others and what you might have, but also gratitude to yourself.
Gratitude to yourself. Exactly.
Yeah. And it's a point of view. And as you turn in and you recalibrate your point of view, you do have an opportunity to be more present because you're not doing the should have, could have. It's really, I think, a great recommendation for all of us. I know that when I wake up in the morning, sometimes during this pandemic, having lost my dad, I miss him greatly. He died from the pandemic. Sometimes I'm always thinking, what do I have to do? And then I say, wait a second, hold back. What am I grateful for? And then suddenly my whole body just relaxes. I say, I'm grateful for this and I'm grateful for that. And I'm even grateful to breathe, when you think about what's going on right now. You, having practiced basketball all day long and as a child, now you're practicing something else. I have full confidence that your journey now is going to be so powerful in terms of your ability as, a mindful athlete. That's going to be your all-star ring. You're going to get a ring for being mindful of and being present.
And that's a big achievement, if it could be accomplished. It's like those type of things I wish. That's why I'm really happy I really accepted therapy, because if I didn't, who knows where I would be mentally. I could have been going down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
We were spiraling, downwards, and with depression, because it piles on. It's just piles on. And this is like data. I don't know how this works with the brain. I'm not a science major, but I'm assuming you collect data, you collect memories.
Yeah.
And it stays there, and then it's something that's it's already there. So, and it takes a long time to get rid of it. But, that's why I think I really want to practice being in the present, because eventually these old thoughts could be in the past, deep, in your brain, wherever it goes. So I don't know if it's like a cloud. I don't know if we have a cloud.
Probably. You're talking a lot about memories and there are a lot of children who grow up having memories that aren't maybe as pleasant, or they might not have ever had the chance to see a psychologist, and now they're adults. How would you like to see a new world emerge where we can uplift emotional well-being to a point where it's part of, the focus in schools. It's part of the focus in the community. What would be your dream kind of approach?
With the economy, our parents have to work. Because if our parents don't work, we're not gonna have no money. So then the parents' children have to go to school, because if they don't go to school, they're not gonna learn. So it's separation there. So we already are practicing separation between family at an early age because of the society that we chose to be, a capitalist society. Learn, build the economy, and do it at all costs, which is time with your family. And when you look at that, the percentage of time you're away from your family is the same percentage of the divorce rate. It's basically the same percentage. So with that being said, as people, we got to come together and see that. Parenting, partnerships, these type of things should be taught in school, because the parent is going to teach their child, hey, be a good boy, be a good girl. You're going to have babies one day. I'm going to be a granddad. I'm going to be a grandma. And this is time that's missing. So if a parent has never been through a really good case study or had a good reference point on how to deal with working, being away from the child and coming home and having dinner, then this child is not going to learn. So the school system is supposed to be the parent. The school system is supposed to be the parent, not just a teacher, not just organization and not just discipline. It's supposed to be love, and we need to implement that in school. There should be pictures of families in school classrooms. There should be classes on, when you get older, young boy, this is how you treat a woman. When you get older, young girl, this is how you treat a man, right? When you get older, young boy, this is how you parent a child. And why not embed it in their head now? Why not embed it in them now? Why not? We teach them so many things, and then in school, we teach them math and reading, because when they get in the real world, we're going to need math, reading, and science. And America wants to even be better at math and science. Why not be better at parenting and partnership? Why not be better at parenting and partnership? So better a foundation, the foundation of family. The stronger the family, the stronger, the household, the happier everyone will be. Families getting together with families. And I'm a prime example of a broken family, cycles. And even when I had this concept in my head, I was going through a divorce. I've been divorced once. And even when I was going through, even when I was thinking like this, I already had so much baggage in my other relationship that I brought on, where I was like, man, but this would be a cool concept, even though I'm not essentially practicing what I preach. I really wish they would do that. These kids could benefit from that. And you need people in these positions that think like that from a point of love and compassion. These are the things we need in our schools. And this is something I always wanted to do, but I've been doing philanthropy for so long where I got burnt out, because even when I was going through all my trials and tribulations while I was playing, I was still doing philanthropy the whole time.
I'm not surprised.
It was like weird, right? I'm like reckless, but like scholarships and pushing mental health, but still going through things that I was fighting inside of me, but still giving a lot. It's something I've been talking about lately. I even changed the mission statement to my 501c3, which is parenting and partnerships. That's what I want to focus on versus mental health. And I'm still focused on mental health, but it's something I really believe in. I believe kids deserve the opportunity to have a family. Mm-hmm. I believe that, and they're going to be so happy with that.
Well, I think you're thinking so holistically that parenting and partnerships really is the precursor to positive mental health, right? That's the point, right? That if you have a positive environment where you're being raised, it's going to really enhance everyone's emotional well-being, and including not only the children, but the parents and the grandparents and their children. Yeah, it's like a domino effect, basically. It's really a powerful idea, I think, and something that some schools have taken to heart. And wouldn't that be wonderful if we could see this as a major theme as we emerge from the pandemic, which I think we have an opportunity right now to redefine so much, given the fact that almost every single child in this whole country hasn't gone to school in a year. So how can we redefine the sense of belonging and community and ability to be empathetic and compassionate to each other within the school structure? I think that's what you're really advocating for. Really, really incredible. Sometimes I like to ask this to certain people, and I know you'll have a unique perspective. What keeps you up at night? What worries you, or what's on your mind? Doesn't have to be a worry.
I think, like, for the most part, I mean, into my careers, for me, it's what I'm going to do next. With the love of basketball, my kids are going to college, so it's like, how do you balance making sure they're okay and pursuing college and working really hard? And then what are you going to do next? Business, what are you going to do next? And, my goal was to, and still is to, kind of build a company and then kind of take a break. I really like holistic stuff. I really like going out, and I don't like working all the time. So, but it's like, how do you stay in the moment? And I actually went to the hospital because I was working so hard, putting so much. I thought I was having a great time, but apparently I wasn't, because every day I'm into it, making calls into it, but then you become stressed. It's like, oh, wow, I'm actually doing a little too much, staying up to 3 a.m, which is okay. I'm just saying everybody's different. Everybody's built different, so I had to actually create some balance. And then, I think for the most part, creating balance between work life and then your own self, your self-life and family life, which is really, really challenging, giving that time to yourself, whatever that may look.
That's a great word, balance. I think that's something that we all strive for, and it's hard to create, but it's worth working on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Especially you've got so many different interests, and you're such a giver. You have a lovely family. So there's all these different people that I even remember you wanting to be sure that your nanny had access to the gym. You think of everybody. You think of everybody, you paid for a membership for the gym for your nanny. So it's like, that's a real strength of yours to be so family oriented yourself.
And it was also great having a platform like UCLA to actually talk about these things, because often I was on the forefront of a lot of different things from a mental health standpoint, but I never really had a good stage to really present it like consistently and give messaging to someone who can make a difference, who's going to make a difference. And that was such a gratifying feeling to be able to, talk about things that I've been doing for years and being recognized for it, and then just giving some advice and input. Is the greatest thing. So many people want to do great things and they don't have access to, to the best foundations or the best people doing good things, or they don't know how to approach it. And even though this wasn't like, I wasn't making money off a relationship like we have, but it was super gratifying just knowing that you can tell your story and you can potentially tell it to a university who's going to actually try to put it in motion or give it back to their students. It's a powerful thing that you probably won't see, but something's happening positive. Some student is going on their journey and doing something positive, and social working and different things. And a lot of universities I see a lot of students is trying to get into social working. I really love that. I think like even a lot of public service workers, I feel like more public service workers should be mandated to do social work, classes or different things. And then, and so hopefully social workers get paid fairly, and because it's a tough job, but it's such a necessary job.
So true. Yeah. I want to thank you for saying that, Metta. I really feel that your generosity and sharing your wisdoms and life experiences and your knowledge of so many different aspects of our society has really enhanced our ability. And I've written down a bunch of ideas from just this podcast. So just to wrap up then, what good do you think will come out of this pandemic?
Well, the pandemic, I don't think anything can come out good, only because so many people passed away. So I think that the healing process is going to be something that's positive. Because, we hear so many people talk about, wow, we did so well during COVID. Well, so many people died during COVID. Nobody did well. Nobody did well, even though the stock's up and all that stuff, but nobody did well. We lost 1 million people. So, with that being said, the healing process, the families that lost people, so many families. I lost my auntie to COVID and a former alumni. So with that being said, remembering, it's hard to remember. It was so many people dying. It became normal.
Right.
It became normal. That's like and so, it's recognizing, remembering. I would say remember, try to remember, pray for their families. This is a weird time. And from a personal standpoint, people lost businesses. So hopefully pray for the businesses. And some people don't have their different faiths. So, wish well on the businesses. It was just an amazing time. Not amazing, from just a shocking time. So I'm really coming out of this, just hoping everybody's I'm hoping everybody has a way to cope and has a way to get through this. And, I see, the cities and governments and the federals trying to do their thing, trying to get people back on their feet. So that's good and positive. I hope more free social worker services and therapy services are out there, because once again, people can't afford it. So if we can find 1.29 trillion, let's find some for some therapy.
So true. True.
I'm really looking forward to the panel. Thanks for having me. It's just such a great platform to be able to, just talk about different things that you want to see done in the world. And it's just a really honor, like it's always been. So thank you.
Thank you, Metta. It's an honor to have you and have your brilliance give us some guidance on future work that we can hopefully support as we move forward. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope you enjoyed this conversation with Metta Sandiford-Artest. We hope you can join us for our 2021 virtual celebration, Bruins Together, on May 26th from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Pacific Time. During the celebration, Metta joins us for an engaging and thought-provoking panel discussing health equity. RSVP now at healthy.ucla.edu/2021 virtual celebration. Thank you again for joining us. For more information about today's episode, visit our website at healthy.ucla.edu/LiveWell podcasts. Today's podcast was brought to you by the Seminole Healthy Campus Initiative Center at UCLA. To stay up to date with our episodes, subscribe to UCLA LiveWell on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Leave us a rating to tell us how we're doing. And if you think you know the perfect person for us to interview next, please tweet your idea to us at HealthyUCLA. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we hope you join us for our next episode as we explore new perspectives on health and well-being.